Hey guys, welcome back to the AWS Cloud Demos. My name is Murli, and in today's demo, we will talk about how we're going to take a backup of your code commit repositories into our S3 bucket. And why would you want to do that? You just want to do that because it's a best practice, so that if anyone in your team accidentally deletes one of your repositories, then that's gonna you cannot get it back. So the only way to save your code is to take a backup of these repositories into your S3 buckets so that you will be able to restore it whenever you need it. Okay, so as you can see on the diagram here, so in this demo, we will try and do a git push to one of our code repository in our code commit, and now we will trigger our CloudWatch event rule, which will automatically trigger the code build, and the code build is going to clone our repository from our code commit, and then it tries to zip archive our code and send it back to the S3 bucket. Okay, so if you look closely in here, so this is where we start. We will create our build spec in using a Lambda function. Okay, so we will also create an event role, and also event rule here. So this will automatically build the project, and then it will clone the repository and then puts into the S3 buckets. Okay, so if you look closely into the template that here, so we are basically taking a code commit repository to S3 using a event bridge and code build. Okay, this is as simple as that. As we have discussed, this is a best practice in order to save your repositories as a backup in your S3 bucket if in case your repositories has gone for whatever reason in your team. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are creating this code build role for missions. We are creating a code commit bucket, backup bucket. We'll create the code commit bucket, and this is our code build project, which contains the which will sync, basically it will clone the code commit repositories to the S3 bucket. Okay, and if you scroll down a bit, this is our build spec. This is our Python handler, which is using Python 3.9. You can see uh, we are creating our build spec, as you can see here. So this is our build spec, which is basically cloning the repository here, and then this is our S3 bucket, which is the S3 path, you can see. All right, and if you scroll down a bit, so this is how we are triggering the build spec creation, and this is the event role, which will wait for the event for git push or anything that you do on your repository. It is waiting for the event, and then it just triggers the code build, which will archive your code and send your archived code into your S3 bucket. Okay, so that is simple. And on the outputs, you can see we have a code commit bucket, backup bucket. All right, so this is what pretty much we are going to do here, and we are going to use serverless application model, which is SAM template. So if you go to README, you will simply copy this command. All right, paste it. So that will try and deploy our application into AWS S3. So I would like to keep the default name SAM app US East 1. From the change before deploy, yes. And then you're going to allow CLI to create a role, yes. Rollback, no. Save arguments to configuration file, yeah. Configuration, yeah. Default. So now it's going to take a couple of minutes in order to deploy your application. So let's wait for it. Deploy the change set, yeah. So once we complete, once we are done with the creation complete, we will go ahead and open up our console and see if how we can take a backup in action. Okay, there you go. You have successfully created our updated stack. So we will now go ahead and look into the console and see how we can see this in action. Okay, so I've already logged into my console. So if I go to my code commit, okay, and go to the code commit, I've already set up 3 repositories in my code commit just to demonstrate how it's going to work for all these repositories. Okay, so if I go to my cloud formation, I will see if my stack has been successfully deployed or not. Our stack name is SAM app. So if you can go here, you can see the SAM app has been created. And now if I go to event bridge, so I've already created an event rule over here. So if I go to the event bridge and click on rules under events, so you should be able to see the SAM app event rule. So this is my rule where it will watch for the code commit for reference created, reference updated, whatever the repository state change, then that will automatically trigger my code build. So if I go to code build, my repository, my project should be created by now. And yeah, there you go. So this is my code build project. Okay, so this has not been started yet, but it will once we push any change to our code commit. So for example, if I open code commit and open up something in Next.js app, if we try and change the app URL, for example, let's say I want to change something in the README, okay, deploy universal, learn more about Next.js. Okay, that's a simple change that I'm trying to do just to test out the changes. So before we test the change, so what I would like to do is duplicate this tab and go to S3 bucket and see what are there in the S3 bucket. For example, if I go to S3 bucket here, find the bucket name using SAM app code, probably this one, code build source, build spec. So this is the build spec that we have created using our Lambda function that I've shown earlier. Now, if I go back to this one, update, simple comment, readme change, commit changes. All right, so I've just now committed my changes. All right, and now go to code build. So if you, on the left side, you have this build navigation and click on build projects. Our build should be started by now because we just pushed a change. Yeah, there you go. So our build has started just now. So that is in process, in progress. Okay, so once the build is done, you should be able to see in our S3 bucket, there should be a folder called repositories where all your repositories will be taken a backup. For example, if you have now changed the repository called Next.js app, so you have made a change in that app, so that repository is going to be stored in our S3 bucket just to make sure that we have a latest backup of our code, so that this will be the best practice in order to have a backups regularly for your application. As a DevOps engineer, make sure you take a backups every time. Otherwise, if the repositories are accidentally deleted, then you might not be able to restore it. Okay, so let's wait for the build to complete, and please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to like the video, and please don't forget to share it. And feel free to ask any questions in the comment section below. Meanwhile, the build is completed. All right, just wait for a couple of minutes more, or maybe you can tail logs. Okay, there you go. So now your build has been successful. So close this window. So now we can see your build is completed. If you go back to this S3 bucket and refresh it, or maybe go back. Yeah, there you go. So now you can see the repositories directory. So this is your Next.js app that we have just changed, and it has taken a backup as soon as you have done a commit. So on 3rd January 2024. So you have taken a backup to your S3 bucket. All right, and also probably you can try any other repository that you might have in your code commit. So go to code commit. Let's say go to repositories on the left side. So now let's say I want to change something on me project. This is a different repository, and we're trying to make a change here. Go to hello.py and click on edit. I'm going to change to world only and commit the change. All All right, so if you go to your code build, the build should be started. Yeah, there you go. So the build has been started. And if you open up, yeah, there is a second build which is running right now, and you can go ahead and tail logs if you want. So that is actually creating, oh, there you go. So that's succeeded right now. Yeah. And if I go to my S3 bucket, if I refresh this repository, so there you go. So now our Python project has been taken back up to our S3 bucket. So I hope you get the idea, and feel free to play with the template that we have here. And probably you can use it for your projects where you can take backups of your code commit repositories. So make sure that you follow this best practice in order to make sure that your repositories are safe. Okay, also look at these diagrams if you try to make sure understand completely before you make any changes in your AWS console. Otherwise, you will end up in having a huge bill. So make sure you make those changes accordingly to your needs. And yeah, and if you like this video, please like the video, and also please subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and I will see you guys in the next one.